What? What are you looking at?
Idiot.
Big idiot.
Stupid. Idiot. Stupid.
Garbage. Stupid.
Stupid. Stupid. Garbage.
Idiot. Garbage. Stupid thing.
Stupid idiot.
Garbage. Stupid idiots. Stupid garbage.
Developed by Toronto-based Finish Line Games and released in 2016, our topic for today is about, according to the description, what happens when two scientists misinterpret a memo from the US government and create sentient corn. Having played the game, that feels incredibly incomplete.
You've fallen into my clutches! I stared at a wall for 63 days!
Don't worry, it all ties together. Sort of. My name is Harvey Bodega, and welcome to Maize. Maize is a great-looking game. I have to gush over the environments. The environments are lush with details and immersive from the very beginning. Walking through a path in a field of corn, you approach a boarded-up farmhouse, and I was giddy. Exploring old abandoned rural places is fascinating, and I've had the privilege to a few times, so, oh man, I'm loving it. Sure, many of the locations past the farm have a change in tone, but lighting is great, there are little details everywhere, and everything feels realistic, even with recognizable-esque brands. Later, you pick up a carpet as a random item, and I shit you not, my grandparents had a longer version of this exact same rug. While the detail is lovely, you can notice a few misplaced things here and there, or occasionally reused assets, but they're overall excellently realized. With such grounded environments, character models can be challenging to fit into such a realistic world, but even though they're sentient corn and a living teddy bear, they're not out of place. I mean, they are, but because of what they are, not how they're done. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Their gestures and animations have a lot of character too, so on the visual presentation side, I have plenty of accolades to give Maize. So we're looking good. On to the audio. I can quickly summarize that being built on top of an immersive visual presentation, everything you'd expect to hear in environments like these are there. While none of the sounds individually are fantastic, they're well done and serviceable, fleshing out the world even further. Some other sounds of note, the item sound, pleasantly reminding me of Silent Hill, and the mechanical teddy bear follows you at a certain point and his footsteps can get annoying. But everything is very solid. The music is environmental and ambient, allowing the immersive soundscape to draw you in. But many of the other tracks are great too. One I have to mention is the closing credits song that is a subtle theme throughout. A 1980s power ballad written specifically for Maize and is unreasonably good. The last thing to discuss is the voice acting, which is also great. Sure, much of it is overly stereotypical, but well performed.
Butso boy, you're a big idiot. How you survive by being stupid?
If a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound?
Interesting conundrum.
One must do things themselves if one would like it done right.
I wasn't a huge fan of this thing's voice, but I can't say it was poorly delivered.
Underappreciated, ridiculed, scorned. Really, what is that? X is not a number. Why is that there?
I think the atmosphere, audio, and overall presentation creates a great sense of immersion, has wonderful attention to detail, and is overall very well done. We looked at the sights, we heard the sounds. Let's go on to the feeling. How are you feeling? You feeling all right? You can tell me, you know. Anyway, by feeling I mean interaction, and the easiest way to explain Maize's gameplay is point-and-click adventure mechanics in a first-person 3D world. You can move, sprint, pick things up in a limited inventory, and interact. The controls to both picking up and interacting are the same, but if an item is outlined in white, you can either pick it up or interact with it, and if an empty blue outline appears, you'll need to use an item on that space. I'll explain briefly. Looking at a white outlined item, you won't be able to distinguish if it's a piece of lore, an item to be placed in your inventory, or a folio item, which is basically a separate inventory specifically for lore or miscellaneous items that you can read at any time. While using an item on something else in the environment just requires you to have it in your hand, combining items inherits a wonky tradition of point-and-click adventures. Rather than just combining wherever or in your inventory, you need to find a specific location made clear with those blue outlines to combine items where they allow you to. Beyond that, there are a few mini-games that I won't cover here as they're more relevant to the story section and are not a huge portion of the gameplay, so essentially you carry on applying these systems to explore, solve puzzles, and watch cutscenes until the credits roll. Maize's mechanics are very simple, and the goofiness of inherited adventure game quirks are not a big deal. Being very linear, you take each stage as they come, and every inventory item, with the exception of one, will be used in the same section of the game it appears. While there were a few times I was aimlessly wandering, it was never for too long. The fact is, you're not encouraged to explore more than is necessary, as secret hunting is not rewarding. Folio items, which are mostly just jokes or occasional lore bits, are typically out in the open, and no puzzle-necessary items are overly hidden. More often I got that prop hunt feeling, where items are hidden in plain sight due to the abundance of visual detail. Maize does have a large open environment, so exploring around for items can occasionally be annoying, but Finish Line games corrals the player by blocking off other areas using stacks of orange Nike shoeboxes. Yeah, actually Nike shoeboxes. Now, I'm glad it greatly cuts down on aimless wandering, and there is a lamp-shaded lore reason as to why these orange boxes keep appearing, but this does come across as very gamified. Let me define what I mean by that. The story and presentation, if made important, are meant to elicit emotion and create immersion, but if something is gamified, it's reminding you you're playing a game, wrenching emotional notes and immersion away. For example, say you get to the conflict with Andrew Ryan in BioShock, a notoriously well-received twist, and it went down something like this.
Kill! Headshot!
Gamifying cheapens the presentation and story, and this is a chronic problem in Maize. An additional example is the white tutorial text that occasionally just tells you when new areas are open. After an extensive exploration of the farmhouse, you turn on the power and grab a CD, prompting the white text to just say, "Hey, you can go somewhere else now, dickhead."
People say that time heals all wounds.
Adventure games have the stereotype of key finding and door opening because it makes sense, but that doesn't really work in a cornfield. Most gamified is the puzzle design. Near the beginning, I find rancid corn oil, and I'm using it everywhere before I just dump it in a sink. Why did I do that? Obviously because I needed to for a future puzzle, but I don't know why or what the puzzle is yet. Sure, that's common in a lot of adventure games, but blue outline puzzles are especially gamified and more unique to Maize. You'll come across the outline of items you'll have to find and then fill in, and you often won't know why, what items, and what the full assembly will be until you're finished. Crafting the mechanical teddy bear is the most significant example. You have no discernible reason to make him, an area just won't open up until you do so. That's the gist. You do things because the game tells you to. I'm not bothered by goofy adventure game quirks like not being able to open a taped box with a metal key, but rather needing a box cutter, but the awesome atmosphere and mystery created by the presentation is lessened by the heavily gamified puzzle design and progression systems. So that bothered me, but my biggest mechanical complaint, unfortunately, is the performance. There are plenty of visual bugs. Missing textures, occasional lighting wonkiness, and the bear's movement is all over the place. He either gets caught endlessly walking, or reminds me of that Sherlock Holmes game where Watson would teleport when you weren't looking. But I caught him. I caught him red-handed. Each of these individually are not a big deal, but enough of them do lower immersion further, especially those that impact the gameplay. Exploration will consistently be hindered by stuttering and slowdowns. Loading screens where applicable are very long, and I had to restart the game 3 times due to performance failures. I had a soft crash, I was once desperately caught in geometry, and one incredibly hard crash where I had to restart my whole doggone computer. This wasn't made as frustrating as the autosave system is really good, but overall, while the gameplay systems are adequate, their implementation, design, and performance negatively impacts the well-done presentation and atmosphere. Okay, let's get to the story, and we know the premise is that scientists accidentally made sentient corn. Practically, however, you start by waking up on a riverbank and seeing corn stalks running away from you. You'll have a lot of questions as you explore. What happened here? Why is everything abandoned? What's this bunker, and how do I get inside? Why is the first item a stale English muffin? The intrigue slowly builds as you solve puzzles until you collect what you need to get inside the mysterious red bunker. Finally, you'll be able to unravel the mysteries of the illicit scientific experiments, the strange structures, and the paintings. You go to open the door and... here's a great spot to break for spoilers. Come on, you've already seen a lot of what's in there, but Maize takes quite the turn, certainly tonally. I'll quickly say to best understand the plot, it helps to have a basic understanding of plant genetic modification, basic facts about the fall of the Soviet Union, and some works of Nietzsche, particularly Der Antichrist, or the Antichrist, or Die Freiliche Wissenschaft, or the gay science. That said, jump forward to the time on screen to avoid the spoilers. Yeah, you don't need to know anything for this plot. It's just goofy. As you open the bunker, you're confronted by the sentient corn.
You must answer a riddle before you're allowed to enter.
They're silly, unintelligent, and very British, but reference you're not the first to try to get inside the bunker, but maybe you'll be different.
You may as well enter as we sort this all out. Let's hope you're better than the last one.
Allowing you inside, you're warned of their brother, and upon entry, you see a distant shape cross a distant door, unsure of what you've seen. From here on, you explore the underground bunker, reading about the contentious office politics of the two main scientists, Ted, the no-nonsense guy, and Bob, not the tomato, but Bob the gluttonous, arrogant, idiotic, and wasteful. These two left a variety of spiteful sticky notes about the facility's bizarre and ridiculous misadventures, which you discover while progressing via puzzles and occasionally finding corn hanging out. As you learn things like Bob commissioning statues of himself everywhere and being the one to order those paintings, this is where the game tells you to build that mechanical teddy bear. Rather than being thankful for sentience and the gift of life, Vladdy the bear is incredibly rude, thinks you're an idiot, and is very Russian.
What? What are you looking at? You're a big idiot. All of this is very stupid.
The first thing you do with him is leave him behind as you enter a vent, discovering the creature you spotted upon entry. Rather than being a scary monster, he's a hulking, sniveling, lispy corn who thinks you're an idiot and should be punished or killed.
This insolence will not be tolerated.
Further on, you discover a female purple corn who is apparently the queen.
We would not expect one such as yourself to understand.
She assumes you'll fail like all those who came before you, but wonders if you can help save the corn. With the queen's blessing and concerned about the hulking corn monster called the Cornucobra, you exit the vent and meet back up with Vladdy. Here is a great time to ask, who are you? Other characters demonstrate recognition, and there seems to have been others like you. Were you a worker at the lab? Who knows, but for now, you're working for Queen Corn, and your job is to raise a series of enormous rings for a yet unknown reason. From here on, I won't do a play-by-play of each plot segment as it would sound insane, but here are some highlights. You carry the core of a nuclear reactor in your hands for a timed maze section, I think the only place you can actually die. You pass multiple times through Bob's crappy security systems by making fake people out of random objects. There are many more passive-aggressive sticky notes, and learn of two other notable people who worked at the facility. The first is Fernando, the lazy, spiteful assistant to Bob and Ted who likes to pump iron, hates the corn, takes pleasure in torturing them, and seems to still be on the ground somewhere. Don't call my name, don't call my name. Fernando. Oh. Yeah, it was his hand you used to get into the bunker in the first place. He died thinking the lightning machine that brought the corn to life would give him superpowers, but it did not. The second is Helen, the most brilliant of the scientists with an affinity for their corn creations. Instead of trying to make the corn fire weapons or do manual labor like Bob and Ted did, of which the corn would only move orange boxes, Helen wants them to achieve their freedom and escape the facility. She secretly triggered a government audit of the facility, leading it to being closed down, and informed the corn that Bob and Ted had an escape plan that they should take instead. Eventually raising the last giant ring, the Cornucobra has been a consistent adversary, trying to hinder your progress, attacking you in cutscenes at 2 different points, and kidnapping Vladdy.
Ha! I've got you now!
Oh, good. Idiot planted ugly face is here again.
Although Vladdy is a source of vitriol and frustration, we delve deep into the facility to rescue him, discovering a dance floor and a set of living scarecrows. Okay, here's what I understand. Apparently someone, likely the Corn, but maybe Helen, not exactly sure, brought scarecrows to life with the hopes they'd help the Corn, of which the Cornucobra has captured all that failed in that quest. You, of course, are another scarecrow, but have been successful. The Queen reprimands the Cornucobra for capturing you, demands our freedom, and allows us to take part in Corn Court, being knighted for our efforts. However, one of the Corn accidentally uses a military radio, alerting the US government that there is still life at the facility. Not taking kindly to this information, their solution is to issue a military drone strike.
Oh, drone strike! Wipe that dead-gum place off the map!
Leaving the Queen Corn in despair. However, Vladdy says the lightning machine can protect them, but they need the drones to strike specifically at that location.
But how do we attract our enemy's attention?
We could dance.
We dance. While I hate a dancing minigame, it works. The Corn, Scarecrows, and Vladdy are able to EMP the drones, but at a cost. Vladdy got EMP'd as well. The Queen is happy with the victory, but the Cornucobra shows up one last time to blow everyone up, somehow able to steer an attack drone by riding it. What can we do to stop him from ruining the Corn's final chance at freedom? Remember that stale English muffin? It's our first and last inventory item, and we bean him with it. Flying around like a Looney Tunes character and exploding, finally the Corn can take Bob and Ted's escape plan and pursue their own goals. The Queen thanks you, gifts you a key, and sends you on a slow, relaxing walk back up to the attic of the abandoned house. There sits a chest. You unlock it with the key, and inside sits a big red button. I forgot to mention, Bob and Ted's escape plan was to go to Mars and bring the whole facility with them. This reminds me a lot of the quest in Fallout New Vegas with those ghouls wanting to go on a rocket, but here you see the immediate result.
Did you close the fuel hatch?
I thought you did.
I was having a nap.
So was I. Me too.
Idiots.
Popcorn rains from the sky, the credits roll, and the genuinely fun 80s styled song plays us out.
I live the life of a lonely man who's plagued by a brilliant mind. By my calculation, it's a sticky situation. Keep it top secret. Babe, we can experiment.
Comparing the narrative and tone before and after entering the bunker feels like two different games. Prior is like, I don't know, Signs, but after is an attempted absurdist aperture science vibe. If it wasn't obvious, Maize is meant to be funny. Comedy, like horror, is an especially personal emotion and difficult to factually analyze. In acknowledgement of the ever-present subjectivity and bias in my reviews, most of Maize's humor simply does not work for me. Many of the jokes have strange timing or wonky punchlines, then get repeated. For example, folio descriptions are almost entirely wild nonsense with occasional lore. Wearing a chair as a hat, randomly trying to eat items, ridiculous reasons to pick things up. How about the description for a rock? While maybe charming the first time, you pick up like half a dozen rocks. Telling, not showing, exaggerative wackiness quickly loses its luster, especially true about that white text. Lampshading blatantly gamified aspects like the orange boxes or Vladdy's teleportation aside, it also tries to tell jokes. Right at the beginning when the tutorial tips are popping up, it says pressing Q does nothing. Clever enough, but like the rocks, at least half a dozen more Q jokes appear throughout the entire game, including the final joke after the credits. Whatever cleverness was there is completely wrung out to the point it feels awkward. The characters being so one-dimensional make them similar. While the Queen was designed as a humorless character, I'm not sure what they were going for with the Cornucobra, and the Corn's banter is occasionally charming, but mostly just weird.
Answer this one. What animal walks on 4 legs in the morning? That one's boring. I'm Riddle President today. I get to pick. Oh, yeah.
If they put me in charge of remaking Maize, I would either completely rewrite Vladdy's character or remove him completely. His dialogue is oppressive.
Stupid garbage. Idiot garbage.
Not really funny to begin with. Vladdy had me questioning the game, myself, mechanical Russian bears. Plus, why is he following you? What do either of you get out of this partnership? I don't know, but it's relatively unpleasant. Beyond Russian stereotypes,
Moi lucid drug.
Why not blow up stupid American cowboys first?
Are we still comrades?
stupid, idiot,
Stupid idiot.
garbage.
Just more garbage. Garbage for idiots.
The repeated mistimed punchline of kicking broken things, which then makes them work after complaining about them.
This stupid thing will never work. It is... Huh? Boy, gray so mignon. Is Vladdy supposed to hit You stupid, dumb, idiot, American garbage!
There is no variation, and it's constant. Fittingly, a Vladdy quote neatly sums up my feelings about the humor.
This place is one big joke. Well, Vladdy not laughing.
It sounds harsh. I thought so too. So I began trying to explain it. The key to any good humor. The comedy may be mismanaged, because Maize must be a game for kids. I mean, completely clean from adult themes and language, you beat the bad guys by dancing, and the whole premise is designed for whimsy. I am not a child anymore. I owed money on my taxes this year, so like Silly String, Ball Pits, and especially Cece's Pizza, it's just not for me, and that's fine. I can grade on that rubric. However, gags about office politics, scientific mismanagement, governmental inefficiency, and contention within rock bands while almost every character is rude.
Vladdy do not know what worse. Idiot plants? The stupid, ugly idiot plant? Or you? No, Vladdy no. It is you. Idiot.
Do not seem to be for children. Monty Python was clearly an inspiration.
You killed my uncle.
Well, she turned me into a newt.
I'm right here. Oh, that's right.
Got better.
Known for absurdism entwined with witty wordplay and dry-cutting satire, or humor young children typically struggle with. I love Monty Python, but try showing the meaning of life to a 9-year-old. The ending of Maize especially seems intended to be a Monty Python-esque ironic absurdism like the ending of the Holy Grail. I'm no expert, but in my opinion, the kids most likely to find the humor appealing would be least likely to appreciate the ending's tonal whiplash. That's, of course, if either the comedy or the ending was well executed, so I can't explain away the mismanaged humor as an intention for kids. So then I swung in the opposite direction. What if it's much smarter than I thought? Maybe Maize is an extended ironic satire of video games, poking fun at silent protagonists.
Why you no talk?
Adventure games, collectibles, puzzle logic. Some elements can be read in even further, like the elevator is a one-to-one recreation of Skinner box conditioning. There are scarecrow mounts on a hill, similar to Jesus' crucifixion. Is this smart? Is this saying something? To give them that credit would still not make it any funnier. I just feel they missed the mark with the humor. So in trying to portray my feelings about the humor, I feel like I've been incredibly negative. So I at least want to talk about some things that I found quite charming. We've got a Looney Tunes hallway, a few entertaining folio descriptions. There's a joke about Ted having to call a hazmat crew because of Bob's poop. Occasionally witty corn dialogue.
I always thought we came to be thanks to a conglomeration of circumstances too large for us to comprehend. Or maybe because it's sunny outside.
The drone conversation.
They appear to be dancing, sir. What in the goddamn hell? Scarecrows are dancing too, sir. Appears to be early 80s style.
And as much as I tore the character up, I have one Vladdy joke I wanted to share.
This is not good. Too many toys. Children should play with rocks to help them understand life.
Here is where we welcome back our spoiler avoiders, and I'll summarize my plot analysis. Maize's story is designed to not be narratively deep, but an endearing, comedic, and absurdist journey. I don't find the humor to be successful due to mismanaged punchlines, repetition, and timing issues, but there is some charm and occasional wittiness. Maize is an experience of wonderfully realized environments riddled with poor performance and misplaced humor. The puzzles are wonky, the plot is hanging on by a thread, and it had me asking why in regards to both design choices and absurdisms, but no matter how you look at it, Maize has a lot of heart. You'll never play another game with the same premise, and completely wacky experiences with this type of budget happen so rarely. That's genuinely something to celebrate, but doesn't necessarily carry over to a full recommendation. In grading in each of my categories, Maize scored between Chex Quest HD and Stirring Abyss in the category Only for Niche Audiences. The reason is the Venn diagram for those who would enjoy this game is very specific. over-the-top wackiness enjoyers, detailed environment appreciators, those who don't mind consistent performance hiccups, and those who don't mind muddled humor. I would describe this overlap as niche and really consider myself over here. While my favorite part was the calm, mysterious exploration at the beginning and the 1980s power ballad, I'm glad I experienced Maize and want to thank Finish Line Games for a truly original experience. As for you watching, thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. I hope all is well. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.
You know what I'm saying?